Conceição saves Portugal in the dying moments of the game. The Portuguese were the most dominant side. They were worthy of their victory. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But the Czech Republic were resolute. They were hard to break down. They were difficult to beat. It was a very, very, very hard-fought game. And look, I was screaming at the television at Roberto Martinez. Make some changes, bring some more pace on. You're lacking right now. You're lacking right now when it comes to speed, when it comes to athleticism. You had some wonderful creativity in the middle with the likes of Bruno Fernandes, but you had nobody making the runs. We know Ronaldo at 39 years of age is exceedingly static. So you need more runners. Rafael Leao really didn't hit the mark tonight, but there was just not enough movement. Everybody in that Portugal team wanted the ball to feet. Neto comes, I know they dominated the game, but Neto comes on. Conceição comes on. And it was only 3 minutes, but they looked a difference. Somebody that could beat a man, somebody that could dribble beyond the line. You mix that in with the brilliant creativity tonight that we saw from Bruno Fernandes, and you have a dangerous, dangerous team indeed. I thought the substitution appearance from Jota was very, very good as well. Just that movement. And look, I'm a massive fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the greatest players to ever play our sport, ever play our game. And I've got so much time and respect for him. But he looked like an old man tonight. When he gets the chances, he can, and I mean, he had a shot that was well saved. He had a header that hit the post. But it was offside for both. Outside of that, there was a lack of movement. It's essentially you're playing with 10 men unless you can put a chance on a plate for him. And I do think Roberto Martinez has to think about that throughout the course of this tournament. Maybe bringing him on later in games could be an option. I don't know. We're going to have that debate on the show today. But look, Portugal get the win. They're still my favorites to win this tournament. Today, I will say what I've said about a number of teams so far. There's a lot for them to improve on. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. But I think it's personnel change that they need. Terry, what was your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes tonight? I thought it was very good. He did what Bruno Fernandes does. If anybody's expecting him to be Xavi or Paul Scholes in the middle, you're just lying. That isn't his game. His job is to get the ball and try and break lines. His job is to whip balls or pass through balls into the box. And he created an abundance of chances tonight for Portugal. The opportunities were just not taken. People with poorly timed runs or not finishing their dinner. I haven't looked at the stats. He probably lost the ball more than anybody else, but that's because he's always trying to break a line. Even if there's only a slim chance that ball makes it through, it's what he does. Where Bruno Fernandes was hindered tonight is I don't think the starting lineup is good enough in terms of balance of profiles. Yes, you had Leao on one side that was, he was trying his best to do something. I wasn't overly impressed with his end product. But outside of Rafael Leao, who is in that team that with a turn of pace can beat a man? Nobody. Too many similar profiles. They need to mix it up a bit. The next game, I would actually start Rafael Leao again and give him another go. But I would bring Pedro Neto into this team. So you've got speed on both flanks. Or you stop the three at the back. You played Leao out wide and you try and utilize Leao for some width and some speed. They didn't do that enough in the game today. And when that happens, it will create even more time and space for the likes of Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes to thread those balls through and be created. It's exactly what needs to happen. Mario here says, Terry wants Ronaldo benched. Listen, you're never going to find someone with more respect for Cristiano Ronaldo than me, but time waits for no man. If chances are put on a plate for him, he can win you games. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. He can. But he just stands there now. He can barely move. He can barely move. And I think Portugal need to consider this. Look, I know he scored a lot of goals in qualifications, 10 of them, but they have to consider it. They can't just, if Roberto Martinez's mindset is, doesn't matter what happens in this game, Cristiano Ronaldo will play every single match, start every single match, they won't win the tournament. He has to have a mindset that is open to change if the play, if the performances, if the outcomes dictate it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he should be right now. I'm stating it has to be a consideration because they were very, very static up top tonight. Very, very static indeed. And they're going to need to improve on that dramatically moving forward. There's no doubt. But if you think he's good enough for the team, I want to get your views and opinions why Mario he should stay in. I'm open to hearing why. But I have a similar view to Ronaldo as I did with Messi at the World Cup. You're going to have to put more runners and more legs around him to get the best out of him. You cannot play with barely any deadly pace in this team. You can't do it. You can't do it. Portugal will come a cropper. They will come a cropper 110% if that's the case. They can't do it. They're going to have, that is where they're going to have to make fundamental changes in my very, very, very humble opinion. But look, you guys may see it differently. You may have a different view on this, but that's what we're here for, right? We're here to give out different views. We're here to give out different opinions. We're here to express ourselves in that way. Leao is a bum, also another overrated Rashford. Listen, I'm not having any Rashford slander on this. I would take Rashford every single day of the week and twice on a Sunday over Rafael Leao. I think he's a good football player. People tell me he's a £100 million plus player. Absolute nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Good win, Portugal, given the other two teams. Yes, good win given the other two teams in the group. Yeah, very good win for Portugal. And it's why you saw that they know after watch. I think they would have maybe watched the Turkey and Georgia game. Why would you not scout him? Two very capable, two very dangerous, two very forward-thinking teams. There's no way they could be going into the next set of the match day 2 games with just 1 point, maybe 3 points. There was no way. They had to go and get those. They had to go and get the win today because they're in a very difficult group. Based on what we've seen in the first couple of games, they are in a very difficult group indeed. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. So that win was hugely, hugely important. It really, really was hugely important for them today. Some more super chats here. Trying too hard to pass to the goat instead of shooting. I don't think it's about trying too hard. You should always be trying to pass to your main marksman. That's football. But it was his lack of movement in and out of possession. It makes him easier to mark. It really does. KDB, Foden, SIlva, Pep's ballers are system merchants as she loves United. I don't necessarily think Bernardo Silva was that bad tonight. I think he suffered in the same way that Bruno created chances, which is great. But where they both suffered is where was the movement? You need movement from your striker, and you need pace coming in from midfield or the wings to try and drag players out. They were standing there with the ball at their feet, looking around for who to pass to, and everybody's going, give it to my feet. Makes it so much easier to mark against. Playing free fullbacks, lock Martinez up ASAP. Well, when I first saw the starting lineup, I thought, well, we're going to get loads of width here. We're going to get loads of width and speed running down the wings. But they barely got the low into the game. It was a really weird decision, in my very humble opinion. A very, very weird decision indeed to do that. I thought it was very, very strange indeed to do it. But, you know, that's just my that's just my opinion. But as I say, it's crazy. That goal was crushing, took 2 mad deflections. It's football. That's football for you. Look, on the balance of play, Portugal deserved to win. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I disagree with the Ronaldo hate for this game. There's no Ronaldo hate. It's a conversation. He was the only one who was making runs, creating space, also creating a great chance for Vitinha with the back heel. You're absolutely spot on about that. That little flick from him was out of this world. The system today was poor with an absolutely shocking lineup. Well, do you know what, Akil? I'm not married to what I'm saying. I'm asking questions. That's my job. And maybe if there is more speed, like I've said, you'll get the best out of Ronaldo. I do think he's become far more static than he used to be. And that's acceptable at his age. Even there was a great cross from Bruno Fernandes that was played in, I want to say about the 70th minute. And that was before they equal. No, yeah. just before they conceded, actually. And it's going to his head. The defender kept on getting ahead to it, kept on getting the flicks on, getting there first. And it's because Ronaldo is so much more static now than he used to be. Ronaldo of old would have been the ball would have been delivered into the same spot, but he would have taken up a much more obscure position in the box because he would have had the speed and the jump to get there. That would make it harder for defenders. Defenders start questioning themselves, well, do I stay? Do I go? And they were always caught at sea. It's one of the reasons why he was so potent in the box. But now he's a mere mortal because of age. It's easier. All you've got to do as a defender is make sure you've got the right positioning and you'll be there. And the 2 times tonight where Ronaldo got onto through balls is where he had to essentially make himself offside. He couldn't stay onside. He used to be able to stay so far onside because he had the speed and the jump to get there. I do think if they're going to get the best out of Ronaldo, they need to start the game with more speed on the pitch, more youth on the pitch. They can't be as static as a collective team with Ronaldo at his age. So that is what I think right now. Portugal has a cracking team, but won't win because of Martinez. Cancelo in midfield when you have Neves ×2 and Paulinho. #fraud manager. I mean, yeah, I wasn't impressed with Cancelo at all tonight. I really wasn't impressed with him at all. Lazy analysis to say Ronaldo being static was the issue. No, he nearly scored twice. No, but I didn't. This is the thing, Darius Palmer. I didn't say that Ronaldo being more static now is the issue, did I? What I stated is the lack of speed throughout the entirety of the pitch. Having 3 fullbacks on the pitch, but not having any width. The ball moving too quickly. Too many players on the pitch wanting it to feet. So nowhere in his opening 12 minutes have I said Ronaldo being much more static now at 39 is the reason this Portugal team didn't look good. Those words have not left my mouth in any capacity, my bro. I'm stating that to get the best out of Ronaldo, you need more speed around him if you're going to keep him in the team. I did suggest he might be a player that maybe in this tournament, as it goes on, if others deliver, that you bring on later in some matches because, yes, he's 39, but coming on against more tired legs would maybe give him a bit more of a benefit because he's so much easier to mark now than he used to be. So, look, nowhere have I said that he is the reason that Portugal didn't look amazing tonight. Those words have not left my mouth ever at any point. Talk about Bruno. Already spoke about Bruno Fernandes. Very good tonight. Created chances. Did what he does. Yes, you'll probably go and look at the stats and he probably gave the ball away anywhere between 20 to 30 times. But that's because most of the time he gave the ball away. There was a few times where he got tackled, but most of the time he was trying to break lines. He was trying to penetrate the ball into the right areas. And do you know what's really crazy about that losing possession stat? That amazing pass to Rafael Leao that Rafael Leao didn't get onto because he went with the wrong leg. That counts as losing possession. The pass that he made to Ronaldo that got saved counts as losing possession. So you have to be very mindful with these statistics. Bruno had a good game. If players had their scoring boots on, he would have had a magnificent game. Bruno did what Bruno does best tonight. Bruno delivered in his individual role. It's the likes of Rafael Leao, the Cancelos, the manager in himself. They didn't. So, yeah, I've already spoke about Bruno earlier on in the show, my friend. I also absolutely broke him earlier, but he casually strolled on like nothing happened. I don't know what this man's talking about. Remember, if you think you can come on and say, join the show, come on and have a call. And I'll give you an appearance fee as well. I'll pay £150 if you come on tonight, Mr. Hassan. But I bet you don't. Absolutely. Say Clint, he was not static. Okay, so was he standing still the entire match? No, we're not going to get pedantic about this. Were we seeing Ronaldo movement of old? Were we seeing him able to move and drift and drop deep and explode into the box late so that he doesn't have markers on him? No, he can't do that anymore. And I'm not blaming him. He's 39. So you need to make sure the team can adjust for that in the same way that Argentina adjusted at the World Cup for Messi. First game, got beat. Messi was looking old in that game. They made fundamental changes. They put more of the youth in. They put more legs into the team around him. They got better and better and better and better and won it. You have to, I don't want to say the word carry Ronaldo. You have to, if you want him on the pitch because you think he's going to be the main guy, you've got to support him with speed and youth. You can't be as static as they were overall with a 39-year-old striker. You just can't do it. Here we go. Terry spinning it now. Absolutely not. It's what I said at the fucking beginning, you moron. I'm sorry to lose my temper, but you fucking fanboys are dickheads. I literally did not blame it on Ronaldo. Liars. It ain't my fault your man wasn't good tonight. Relax yourself. Leao was so fast. Guy surprised. I don't necessarily look at Rafael Leao as a fast performance tonight. He beat his man a number of times. Final ball, awful. Awful tonight. Rafael Leao had a stinker. A stinker. Terry, he's 40, mate. Yes, exactly. I know he's 40, which is why I've said you need to put some more youth and legs around him. Why is that so hard to... Why is that so hard... Why is that so hard to understand? Jesus Christ the Lord. What front three starts versus Turkey? Listen, I would go... Listen, I'd still start Ronaldo. But I would give Leao another opportunity. I'm not saying drop him. But I would go with Neto on the right-hand side. I'd go to a back four. And I'd have Leao on the right as well. You have Leao and Neto on that right-hand side and use their width. That way, you don't have to keep pushing Bernardo Silva and Bruno so far out wide. You can keep them a little bit more central. It's going to give Turkey something to think about. Who are they going to double up on? The wide players that are keeping the width and stretching the play? Or are they going to stay inside to take care of the likes of Bruno Fernandes, the likes of Bernardo Silva? They can't double up on everybody. And if they do, that means everybody's going to be sitting back, which means they'll barely be a threat. So for me, that is what I would go with. More width, more speed to try and get the best out of a still deadly but aging Cristiano Ronaldo. I hope people are not offended by me pointing out the facts that he is aging. Terry is a Ronaldo hater. No, love Cristiano Ronaldo. He is absolutely phenomenal. The disrespect on Bernardo, why start Neto? See, I know you're playing there. I know you're playing. But there we go. The Ronaldo fanboys will need an international crisis line when he retires. But this is the crazy thing. I'm trying to get the best out of him. I actually don't want to see him have games like tonight, where all they're relying on is that the ball finds him. It's harder to find him when he... Again, we're being pedantic over it. I'm talking about him being static in comparison to what he was. I don't mean he literally stood still all night and didn't move. Come on now. Let's not be crazy here. We aren't in the court of law. You don't have to say exactly Ronaldo being static is the issue. You imply this to be the case. And that is not but that is not true, is it? You could say I implied it if I said that Portugal was static, Portugal looked slow because of Cristiano Ronaldo. Or I said they look really bad and slow, but only spoke about Cristiano Ronaldo. The fact that I spoke about the formation being wrong, the wrong personnel being picked, too many players wanting the ball to feet, not enough speed being put in the team to support Ronaldo, that means I'm not implying it. Because I'm giving multiple reasons that will make this team less static as a collective, faster on the ball, and creating more opportunities to score. That shouldn't therefore imply that I'm only blaming Ronaldo when I list multiple things that Portugal need to improve on, Darius. I respect you, bro. I love the challenge, but it wasn't implied in any way, shape, or form. And I think I've demonstrated that 110%. Jota, Felix, Ronaldo. Not enough speed. You'll have more movement with those guys. They need some speed. You need some speed and you need some width. The only way that maybe works is if you've got really domineering fullbacks. So if they work the system out so that the low, I don't know, we're going to play Mendes at left back, that could potentially work. That could absolutely work. Mr. Hussein here says he may have lost his pace, but his mind works double as fast as players can run. His position, but that doesn't help if you're not in the right space at the right time. Cristiano Ronaldo's mind is amazing. His football knowledge is going to be amazing, but he needs some support because he's too static now to be in a team that was really static. That's a fact. That is what you're here to debunk. That's it. How do you get the best out of Ronaldo? Do you agree that more speed is needed in this team? Yes or no? If you say no, then fair enough. But you need to make me understand why. You know what I'm saying is right about him and the Portugal team, but you're taking it as a Ronaldo insult, which is mad. Mad. Mo and Hussam joining me now. Welcome back, boys. Interesting game tonight. Sam, You said in the group chat earlier on
You've
today.
fully been fighting the chat for the last half.
Bro, I love this. I love this, Terry. It's like you fighting the Ronaldo fanboys. It's the same
You start
as
first,
when
and then I'll come
people
in.
fight the Messi fanboys. I actually not here to say anything. I didn't think Ronaldo had a bad game, but I agree with Terry. They did not use him. They didn't put the ball in the box. The guy is there to be in the box. They didn't cross the ball. Dalot would get it. It was too slow. Move back. Go to Pepe. Go to the other side. Rafael Leao. Another Osman Dembele today. Same. You beat your man, and you look exactly the same. Final ball, absolutely atrocious. If it's not on the transition, Rafael Leao is useless because he would dribble the guy, and then he would hit the first man in the cross or cross it to nobody. Cristiano Ronaldo today, they didn't use him. It's not his fault, by the way. He was trying to ask them to move the ball to the sides, but they didn't. That's on the players. That's on the Brunos, the Bernardo Silvas, the Dalots, the Rafael Leaos. They wanted to penetrate from the middle for someone that was smart and physically cannot live up to some of the Czech Republic defenders. Portugal looked very, very slow today, unless it was a transition. If they keep doing this, they're not getting anywhere. By the way, the 2 goals they scored were lucky. But to be honest, even the cross they crossed for the second goal was lucky. 9 times out of 10, the ball doesn't go through the guy's legs when he's on the floor. This doesn't happen. Portugal today didn't look great. Yeah, you have all the ball in the world, but you didn't create anything. Nothing like. By the way, the Cristiano Ronaldo, he was shoulder offside as well. By the way, the one he missed in the first half, I think they showed it on beIN Sports. Hassam can attest to that. He was offside.
Yeah.
They showed it on beIN Sports. His shoulder was offside as well. They didn't have it in the feed here, but I checked. He was offside. They were trying to play Ronaldo behind when there was no space. Portugal today looked a lot of talent, stacked team, no output. Zilch, 0 output, moving the ball too much without having an intent. This is the difference between teams that have talent with intent and talent just to be on the pitch. Cancelo in the midfield, just another talent twisted in the midfield. There is no reason. Forcing him, Dalot, Nuno Mendes, no reason for that. Just no reason, to be honest.
So it's really interesting. There's a comment here that says, yes, they do need more speed to offset Ronaldo, Bernardo in the team. But would it have helped them versus a low block? Yes, it will, because listen to what else I said. I'm not talking about speed like Theo Walcott, where you essentially need space to run into. Neto was a prime example when he came on. Neto has got speed with skill. So he beat a man, and then he can use his speed to accelerate 2 or 3 yards to then pass the ball. That is what they lack today. You need speed when you're up against a low block, in the same way that Kylian Mbappe created the goal last night for France, because he could do a bit of skill and then his speed gets him away from a player. What you saw tonight, Bernardo Silva beats a man, but then he can't accelerate past him. So somebody else in the defensive system can then cover that position because the speed isn't there. More speed is needed. It was easier for Portugal when Ronaldo was younger, because Ronaldo would take up not weird positions for him, but he wouldn't need to be where he was. He could start 5 yards back. You put it into that danger zone and he would get there. He'd leap higher than defenders. He'd move quicker than he needed to be. He now needs to play much nearer the edge. He is far. I'm going to change my words to not hurt people's feelings. He is more static now than he used to be, which means you need more speed around him. The fact that that seems to have triggered people is crazy to me. I don't understand. I'm literally saying, if you're going to play with the team they played today, Ronaldo needs to be on the bench and come on later, because he's going to struggle when there's a lack of speed around him. So what is it? You either need him coming on the bench with fresh legs against tired legs, or you need more speed around him. It's one of those two things, or Portugal are not going to progress as far as they should for the talent they have in this team, because the bench, in some respects, was better than some of the guys that started tonight, Hassam.
Yeah, Hassam, before you go on, can I ask you something? Can you tell the people what they like to hear? Can you show them how to come on the football terrace and tell the people what they want to hear? Can you just show them?
I will. I actually won't. I'm gonna be the asshole today. I feel like being the asshole today because you guys have been really rattled by Terry when he's actually being nice. Let me explain something to the Ronaldo sections in the chat. Ronaldo was trash today. In the first half, had a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity created for him, right in front of goal, missed it, one-on-one, sitter, looked at the Czech Republic goalkeeper in the eye and shot it right at him. He was offside for the goal that Jota scored, because his positioning, his speed of positioning isn't no longer the same thing. I'm from the region. I watch the Saudi League. The Saudi League quality is levels and levels and levels and levels below the levels of the Euros. There's levels below. You're not going to get Euro level defenders playing in the Saudi League. And the reality is, today, Cristiano Ronaldo should not have played. You're talking about, the front three around Ronaldo, you need pace. I would have dropped Ronaldo, because that Portuguese side have too much talent to essentially have a target man at the end of it. You need a fluid, exchanging front three that can play with each other. You need a front three that can interchange, that can cause havoc across the front line. And then if you're down 1-0, 2-0, and you maybe need a goal scorer or something like that, you bring on Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is no longer the same player. It's not an insult. For the people who watch NBA, it's like watching Michael Jordan with the Wizards, in the early 2000s versus watching him with the Bulls in the 90s. In the 90s, he was GOAT levels. With the Wizards, he was averaging 20 points a season, which is something like, regular for NBA players. So the reality of the matter and the truth of the matter is Cristiano Ronaldo needs to be dropped. Never mind, we need pace around him and all this. I think that is even being nice. The truth is, Portugal have too much talent. Now, from Roberto Martinez's perspective, if you want to just put all the names on the pitch at the same time, make sure you mishmash them correctly. What was Cancelo doing today? I genuinely didn't understand what Cancelo was doing today. That's the thing. This is not Cancelo criticism. This is Roberto Martinez criticism. Explain to me Cancelo's role today. What was it? Like, it's just like, when you just add the name on the team sheet for no reason whatsoever. Why is Cancelo there? Like, what addition did he add to your shape or structure or style? Today, Czech Republic were crap. Even the first half, watching the Czech Republic, I felt I was watching, one of the teams that we beat, in the Asian Cup. It wasn't what I was like, what are you actually bringing to the table? Like, it's not like they're doing anything special. And in the second half, that goal opened up the game a little bit. But Portugal today did not scare anyone. No one's watching this being scared of them. The talent is there, but it's about how you put the talent together that makes you a great team. It's the same thing with the Galacticos. The Galacticos didn't really dominate Champions Leagues, dominate Premier League, because maybe they weren't able to mishmash it together. And the truth is, you need to be able to mishmash these things together. And they are unable to do so. One of the players that I can't stand, and I hate him, like I fully hate Bruno Fernandes, but Bruno Fernandes played really well today, because he actually played in his role, which is right behind the forward line, able to create, able to be the final pass, and that worked out. So they need to just stop just shoving people in there just for the sake of, Cancelo must start. This guy must start. No, you play a system that actually works. That's just how it goes. I mean, we criticized yesterday Deschamps for not playing Tchouameni and Camavinga, but it's still a system where Rabiot and Kante are a double pivot. It's not like he went Rabiot right wing, like he's playing everyone in their positions. Everything is clear. And I think the problem with Portugal is there isn't a clear style. And all these ballers, all these technicians, you can't have at the end of it a target man that's no longer the player he was 10 years ago. This is the issue now.
Do you know what's really interesting about it? There's a comment here that is fair, that says, from Jack, says, I'm sorry, but rewatch the game again. You can see, sorry, I get what he's saying, but I don't read right. Sorry, but if you rewatch the game, Wood can see multiple times. I think you mean multiple times he makes the runs into open spaces, and Cancelo, Leao, and Leao each did crap. I agree. I didn't understand where we were even playing Leao tonight, because it said on the graphics he was going to be out wide, but I very rarely saw him in that position. Very, very strange setup from the manager. But it isn't. So when I said he's being static, I don't literally mean that he isn't moving in any way, any shape, or any form. He does make some runs, but he's making runs when there is a low block, and the team, everybody wants it to feet. So he isn't making the runs at the same speed he was 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago, where he can make it to that ball. The ball from Bruno or Bernardo Silva is going to have to be one of the best passes of the night, spot on weight, and Ronaldo might get there. And it's too high risk. It's too high risk, and you're passing it through 11 players, essentially, and it's very, very difficult to do. Mo, when you're moving your mic, I'm going to put you on mute because it makes a lot of noise, mate. Sorry, mate. So I understand where Jack is coming from with this, but you saw the difference when Neto came on. And that could have been Ronaldo, by the way, that scored that goal. Had there been somebody else on the pitch with speed and movement combined that can beat a man. That is what this team needs to bring everybody else alive, because what it does, it will drag players out of position that will then make Ronaldo's runs that are intelligent. He knows where to go, but he ain't as quick as he used to be. There will therefore then be more space for the Brunos and the Bernardos to pass the ball into. I didn't think this would need this depth of explaining. I thought it was simple to follow, and I mean that with respect, Jack. For me, it's just a case of Ronaldo is static by his standards, so he'll run when he has to move. Outside of, by the way, making runs, he does very little else in the team now, which is understandable at 39 years old as a striker. Even when he does his sort of like the feet flicks that he does on the ball, he did that at 18 and then he try and beat someone. He does it now and just does a simple pass off to the side. It does make me laugh. It's almost like he mentally wants to do it, but he realizes I can't explode past somebody anymore. So the only way this Portugal team improves, as we said, is by adding speed. And someone here says, Tori, no, you don't need speed for low blocks. You need movement. Yes, you need movement, but the people making the movement have to be quick.
Why are you guys so rattled by the word speed? It's so random. Guys, if the winger was slow, if Pedro Neto was slow, he wouldn't have been able to beat the fullback. And let me just say something to the Ronaldo sexuals in the chat. Guys, Messi is my GOAT. I think Messi is the greatest football player of all time. Messi right now is not the same player he was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And the difference with Argentina and with Portugal is with Messi, they play a team around him that removes all his weaknesses, where he can walk on the pitch, where he can just watch play and learn when to get involved. And it helps him because he has runners around him. He has McAllister in behind him. He has players like that in behind him. He's in a position where he doesn't have to run much. He's in a position where he doesn't have to press, you know. So they take away his weaknesses at this age and they let him play to his strengths. That's why they have Julian Alvarez ahead of him as the striker. You know, someone who has a high work rate, can run around, can do all of that. So if you want Cristiano Ronaldo to work, in my opinion, it could be that you actually completely switch up to a 4-4-2 and go with a striker next to Ronaldo.
Maybe
you want honesty, you cannot have Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva play behind Ronaldo. You need width. And Rafael Leao is in that guy. You need Neto and you need another winger that will whip in 5 crosses, 10 crosses a half. You cannot have the most tricky players in the midfield with Bruno and Bernardo trying to thread the ball through a needle to him.
And that's a great point. And for me, again, I don't care if Portugal win or not. Maybe it's one of Bernardo Silva or Bruno Fernandes that needs to be dropped, especially when you've got the likes. You've got Vitinha that's in the team. You've got the Neves is on the bench. You've got Paulinho on the bench. Maybe it is a Bruno or a Bernardo that needs to be dropped. But I almost feel there's an element here from Roberto Martinez where he's trying to get all these stars on the pitch at the same time.
Yes.
As opposed to picking his best team. And the problem is the one player that's going to suffer the most in that is the oldest guy on the pitch because he needs more help and support at the age he is. Just as, by the way, every single player of that age has always needed that help and support. Can you imagine playing Pepe at 41 years old in a high exposed line?
Yeah, he would suffer.
One of the things
so you have to do these things. There's a comment. Darius here says, I agree with you that he needs more legs around him. That's exactly what I said. He also says, though, not triggered, Terry. Not saying you personally, Darius. Terry, the analyst for me was wrong. My criticism of him was he kept on dropping deep and not being in the box where he's best. Well, this is the thing, but you need a striker to sometimes come out of his box. He wasn't dropping deep to be a playmaker because that isn't really what Ronaldo does. He does every now and then, he'll like the back heel. But what he does, and this is muscle memory, he comes out to explode back in to run into space, so it's hard to pick up a mark. The problem is he doesn't have the legs anymore to get to where he needs to be in time. That's just natural. I saw it at Man United. I saw it at the World Cup. I've seen it again tonight. So he is more static if he wants to be in the right positions because he can't move as much as he used to. So therefore, what you need is players creating space around him by being able to beat a man with speed and trickery. And you need to spread the play so that the middle opens up. That is what needs to happen.
Can I add something to what you said? What Terry said is great about maybe Bernardo and Bruno Fernandes. I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo at the current moment is worth dropping the other stars for him. Why do people so hard to understand at 39 years old, it is not worth it to drop the other guys for him? There is so much talent in this Portugal team. There is a difference. Listen, I like Cristiano. Messi's not my go-to or anything. It's not Cristiano. But for me, at the end, Messi is worth building the team around him when we saw it in the World Cup because he's 2 years younger. Cristiano Ronaldo at the current moment playing in the Saudi League, it is not worth it to drop anyone from the talented Portugal team to accommodate him to be the target man in the box. There is Diego Jota.
Terry mentioned the solution, by the way, Mo. You know who the solution is? Terry mentioned it but he never like doubled down on it. Palhinha has the solution. Palhinha changes everything for this Portugal team because he's an out-and-out DM. He's a DM. He's a destroyer. He don't care about.
But he didn't need that today.
No. Hear me out. It's not about need that today. It's about systems. We're talking systems here, Mo. We're talking about how can I make Ronaldo work. Terry just spoke about work rate around him, speed, technique, pressing, crossing, all that, 100%. How can you allow for all that to happen? You need an out-and-out DM. Essentially, you would go for a 4-1-2-1-2, which is basically the old school style of football with two strikers. You know, you'd have a Jota next to him or whoever you want. I mean, people say, oh my God, you're a Liverpool fan. That's what you're saying, Jota. No, but I'm saying in terms of movement, high work, you'd have Jota in front of them. You probably go Neto on the left, and you'd go someone on the right. If he's so insistent on Cancelo, he could play Cancelo right mid instead of just playing.
You know, that kid Conceição plays right wing for Porto all season.
Yeah, okay, you could play Conceição right wing, put Bruno in the 10, have those two strikers ahead of him. Now, Ronaldo doesn't need to press. Ronaldo doesn't need to have any work rate type of crap. He doesn't need to drop deep. And you just literally make him the finisher of all the action you
are hitting him again. There's no need for them. Just drop the guy.
This is also, I mean, I said it earlier on. It was a question I asked, and sometimes people do get triggered by questions. I want to say this to the viewers again. When I ask questions of maybe you should be on the bench and come on with fresh legs later, that isn't me saying I would do that. It's asking questions of the audience. And a lot of my questions are based on what I see some of you say or what I see pundits say or see on social media to ask questions. But this is being suggested here. Maybe that is an option to bring him on with fresh legs against tired legs. I think all of these things, these things can be options. But the super chat here that says, no, you don't need players. Sorry, comment says, no, you don't need players to come out of the box because you bring traffic with you. So, but this is where me and you disagree and see football differently, Ash. And I understand you, bro. But if Ronaldo was to come out, he doesn't really take defenders with him anymore. He used to, because Ronaldo could pick the ball up at the edge of the box and he could beat 2 or 3 men and score. But so you probably need him to stay where he is a little bit more than he was actually doing. I think that's really fair criticism from Darius. But you should want your striker to come out. You don't want him coming into midfield to pick the ball up. But there was a great relationship we saw at Tottenham many years ago, and it happens at all clubs, where Harry Kane would come deep. He'd often take a centre-back with him. That used to create room for Dele Alli to run into, and he scored a lot of goals doing that. So if Ronaldo's coming out and no one's coming with him, that's also a problem, because you're then crowding that area out even more. If you was bringing a centre-back with him, bringing, as you call it, the traffic with him, that would create an opening for somebody else to run into or pass into. So it's one of those things. If he's dropping deep, doesn't put enough fear into the centre-backs to go with him, he has to stop doing it. Ironically, that would make him more static. But if that benefited the team more, it may not happen. But I do think you need, as a team, players to sometimes drop deep. Strikers have always been tasked with dropping out into the channels, because it's about trying to open teams up, my friend. You know, you don't just stay in one position and not move from there. That would be crazy. Bernardo always underwhelms with Portugal, in my opinion. There's a lot of people, boys, criticizing a lot of City players at this tournament, saying they're system players, and away from Pep, they're just not the same.
But they are. But what did he want Bruno to do today? Bernardo. Did he want Bernardo to dribble like 50 guys and score in his own? Is that what people are? Bernardo Silva was never that guy. I didn't think Bernardo was awful today. He just did his job, run around, connected the play, didn't do anything bad. He created the goal. Like, I didn't think he was bad. But again, you won't see a lot of players that play for Pep Guardiola shine as much as they shine under Pep. That's why he is one of the greatest managers ever. If it was only the team, you would say that. But he is absolutely one of the greatest managers of all time. That's why some of the players outside his system aren't the greatest. What do people expect? Expect Bernardo Silva to be like the superstar of that team? Bruno looked better than him today in terms of picking up the ball. Bruno looked better than him today. It's not about, Pep or not Pep. It's just Bruno Fernandes at Manchester City. Pep Guardiola hides every flaw, and he looks like fantastic. And that's That's like Pep Guardiola. With every Pep Guardiola made Pedro. Do you guys remember Pedro scoring every single final?
Yeah.
Look absolutely like a world beater. People said, "Oh, this is one of the greatest players ever," and then he leaves and goes to Chelsea. He looks good, but doesn't look the same guy.
Yeah, it wasn't. Brian, long time no see, brother. Hope you're well. This guy wasn't just an original on the terrace. This guy was on the channel when it was called the Devil's Bus TV. You're talking 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, Brian. I was surprised they didn't keep Leao on and bring Neto on earlier to double their threat. Do you know what? I kind of agree with that. I've seen a lot of people online like ripping into Leao, saying, he has stinker and he was hooked, and rightfully so. It wasn't so much they took him off, is that I didn't feel they replaced him with someone that could do what he was trying to do, and that's beat a man and run in behind. And maybe the first thing they should have done is brought Neto on, kept him on the other side, and see whether that helped. But because he had the beating of his right, the problem is he had the beating of the right back. He just can't. People have been telling me that he is Man United fans. This is, so I'm talking about my club here. That he is exponentially better than Marcus Rashford. Every time I watch him play, I go, okay, he's good, decent. I'm not sitting here saying Marcus Rashford is world class. Even I'm just saying, I beg my club never get rid of Rashford and bring him in, because I don't see what he's amazing at the highest level. I don't see it personally. I don't watch him enough, maybe, but I've never been impressed. I've never watched a single game where I've gone, Leao was the man today, and people are talking 100 million.
Yeah, this guy won AC Milan the league on his own, but it was pass to Leao and he would beat two men in 50 yards run and just score a goal. In a game like this, we saw small spaces. Neto is more useful than him. Basically, Neto is what we used to call the half-yard guy. Creates a half-yard for himself with the speed and cross. Rafael Leao doesn't do that. He dwells on the ball. He's too slow, by the way, on the ball in decision-making. Did you guys notice that? He would stop on the ball, make the decision like 10, 15 seconds.
This is the AC Milan hatred coming out, Mo. This is the Milan hatred right here. It's coming out. It's coming out. Let it go. They won the league. It's okay. You won the league again. Don't worry about it, Mo. Why are you so mad at the Milan player? Can I understand? So you're just gonna stare at me? Why are you staring at me? Can you answer the question, please?
It's not a hate. It's actually the truth. What you saw.
What I will say, though, about what Martinez did in terms of the subs, he did win it in the end. It was funny because I don't know I was watching it on the BBC, and Danny Murphy sort of said, I can't believe he's only giving Conceição and Neto 3 minutes. What are they going to do in 3 minutes? They won the game. It was literally like the opposite of the commentator's curse, really. But look, at the end of the day, he got it right. But we'll see if he learns from it. As well, Brian, thank you very much for that super chat, bro. Need to drop one of the low or Cancelo to add another midfielder, or move Bernardo to midfield and get Neto out wide. Listen, I think you're spot on there. I think you get rid of one of those two. I don't really care which, because I'm not a Portugal fan, and add another midfield player.
Why not drop Bernardo and put a winger? Yeah, he's a Man City fan. Never gonna say that. Never gonna say that.
You got him.
No, basically, maybe just drop one of the midfielders and keep the midfield as it is.
But couldn't you see? But I think you could do a 4-3-3. You could go with whatever back line you go for, and then you have Paulinho, and then you could have Bruno and Bernardo playing as attacking eights, so not 10s but attacking eights, and then you have two fast wide players. Neto could be Leao, given another opportunity as an example, with Ronaldo in the middle. And against majority of the teams, they're going to have the majority of the ball. So that way you could
work, actually.
So what is Bernardo? So what's the reason why do you have Bernardo and Bruno in the middle? Then what are they going to do?
They're going to create.
Yeah, but we just established that the creation will be from the sides.
So
what I would do then?
It'll be from both. Who's going to
feed? But what I would do is I would do the wingers.
Who's going to feed the ball? Who's going to feed the ball to the guys out wide?
It's so easy to get to the wide.
Who's going to get the pre-assist?
One of them. Bruno
who's going to get the pre-assists?
I actually pre-assist.
Pre-assist.
The pass before the pass. Listen, if I
have Guardiola, you have ruined my sport.
I would absolutely, now thinking about it, I would do what Hussam said. I'll play a second striker in Jota.
Yes.
Paulinho to cover the spaces. One of Bernardo or Bruno. I would prefer Bruno. In that room,
he's better.
And play Neto and Leao and just go with it. And by the way, and drop the offensive fullbacks. Play Inacio and let these five guys, Ronaldo, Jota, the two wingers,
I
and
get
Bruno
what you're saying
create.
now.
Just do that.
That's
That
like
could
what
work.
Arrigo Sacchi did.
That could, and that would help.
Exactly, 5 and 5.
And that could
Arrigo
help.
Sacchi. Yeah,
That could help with the aging of Ronaldo, and he's more static approach to the game now than when he was younger.
But that proves one thing. Before you do the super chat, that proves one thing. None of us and none of the City player want to see Bernardo play on the right wing where he played against Pep, which tells you, answer the questions of why doesn't City player look shiny in the international tournament? The guy played in a triple winning team on the right side, Bernardo, but it was suited to him. But none of us and none of the City fans would like to see Bernardo on the side where he played in a triple winning team. Why? Because he's not a winger. He wouldn't do what Neto does.
And also, Portugal are not as good as if you were to be able to play Portugal versus Man City would win. Man City are much better than Portugal as a footballing side. So that's also part of it. Like he's suddenly playing and this happens sometimes. Sometimes your international team is not as good as your club team, and it notices. By the way, boys, with the rest of the how good was the Turkey versus Georgia game?
Best game of the tournament.
Yeah.
That's how football should be.
I'm awake.
I'm
awake. That game right there.
Okay.
First of all, both Turkey goals, bangers. Bangers. I was stunned. Arda Güler, what a goal. What a goal from Arda Güler. That guy, he don't even have a mustache yet. And he football at 116 kilometers per hour. Unbelievable. I have to give shout out. But forget players, fans. You thought you're watching a game in Galatasaray or Besiktas or Fenerbahce, the way the Turkish fans turned up. They weren't quiet all game long, and they were just singing from start to end. And I thought, this game, when they first asked me, like, Osama, what do you think is going to happen? I said Turkey will win 3-2. I thought it's going to be high scoring. And Georgia had chances right in front of goal. This guy, I think, I don't want to mispronounce his name, but I think his name is like Titsvili something. He was right in front of goal twice, number 6. Twice. One time he hit the bar, and one time it was like this far from the goal.
It was such a crazy game. And I think partly it's that is how football should be played, but you couldn't get that tonight because the Czechs were not going to attack. But what you have tonight is two nations that they don't always have the greatest of players, but in where I grew up in London, big Turkish population. So the kid, the way Turkey play is how every single Turkish boy in the playground used to play as well. There is flair, there is technique, it's great to watch. I've always liked Turkish football. The passion of Turks as well is absolutely ridiculous. They are, in my opinion, I don't think there's a nation in the world that has more sort of patriotism and passion and fire in their bellies than Turkish people. And I grew up, one of my best friends, Erkan, who grew up with it. It was amazing to watch. But I also want to credit, and they deserve their win, and congratulations, the goals, it was amazing. But Georgia, I know they lost 3-1, but a lot of people said they could be a dark horse in this tournament. They could be. Some of the performances, and it's very difficult because the names of their players, I know who they are, but it's hard for me to pronounce them. But obviously you've got what's his name? Everyone calls him Cavadonna from Napoli. I know he didn't get an assist or a goal today, but he was so good and so dangerous.
That's why he beats a man in the half yard. Did you see that? How do you beat a man in the half yard on the sideline? You're gone.
I don't want to trigger anybody, but you do that with skill and speed. That is how you do it. You need both of those components at the same time. But both sides just played astronomically good football. They really, really did. And it was one of those matches that I was so gutted to see end. It was I could watch that for hours on end. It was amazing entertainment. So congratulations to both of them. And listen, this group is going to be amazing. There is no guarantees. The Czechs probably won't get out of it, but all three of those teams could get out. If we're being honest with ourselves, all three will probably beat the Czech Republic. Based on what we've seen today, they could all get out the group stages, and who knows in knockout football. Akil here says, just to clarify, I meant the Ronnie hate in the chat, not Terry. Fair enough, my bro. I can take it. I push back sometimes. I did snap at some of the trolls today because it was getting on my nerves, but not you. Super chatters are not trolls. You guys support the terrorists. But overall, Portugal would play better against teams which offer more space. The Czechs came with a game plan to sit back. This is true. We may be sitting there like, this is a very good point. We might be dissecting Portugal in this way, but the next two matches, maybe Turkey and Georgia sit back. If they don't and they open up an attack, that's where it's going to be very, very again, it could be a completely different ball game then. So we will see. I agree with you. Needs to be more legs around him. Thank you, bro. Who's been the best 11 through match day 1?
Best 11. What does that mean?
So the best 11 players at the tournament so far.
That needs a show by itself.
That needs a show by itself.
That needs the show by itself.
We need to go over the games and think who played well here, who played well there. I cannot answer it right now. Off the top of my head, I really can't.
I know one name that has to be there. Arda Güler has to be there. And Jamal
Musiala has to be there.
And Musiala has to be there.
Musiala has got to be in it. Bellingham has got to be in it.
Güler today.
He's got to be in it.
Stanchu, Romania, the midfielder, was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He was unbelievable. He's the guy that scored the first goal. Spain.
Nobody.
Carvajal.
Lamine Yamal, maybe. Lamine Yamal.
Carvajal, actually.
Carvajal, maybe at right back would be a shout. Who else could we go for?
Kante, France.
Kante has got to be in there.
We've just finished the midfield. We went Kante, Stanchu, Bellingham. On the right, we've got Arda Güler. On the left,
to get Bruno Fernandes in there.
Right back,
nice.
I'm joking. I kid. Yeah, I mean that's probably what I mean.
And we know there are 2 names that are not gonna be there. We know it's not gonna be Cristiano Ronaldo, and it's not gonna be Phil Foden. We know that for sure. We know that for sure, people. That's what we know.
People are gonna get upset with you, bro. People are gonna get. The Romanian midfielder is that Dennis Mann? Is that who you meant?
No, Stanchu.
Stanchu, sorry. Yeah, listen,
the captain.
It does need a show by itself. It does need a show by itself. But yeah, I think that some of the players we've mentioned there going to Kante, Bellingham, Musiala. A few people in the comments have said Kai Havertz.
No,
not
yet. Do you know what? If he'd have scored one of these...
Robertson in the chat. Have some shame. They lost 5-1. They lost 5-1. Have shame.
Gahey's a shout. Come on, bro. Gahey's a shout. I thought Gahey was good the other day.
Yeah, he was.
Good.
Oh, what's this say here? The incel always deflects and projects, calls people trolls if they disagree with him. You think I'm an incel? You think a man with 3 children is an incel? Is that what you think? Oh, that's Diego. It's the worst insult ever. Do you really think that's what I am? Maybe. I don't know. Crazy. It's you you think I'm unable to get a sexual partner when I have 3 children? I'm sorry to laugh.
3 times guaranteed.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I call out the trolls and people like yourself who never call in. You're not super chatters, you're not members, but you tune into every show. No matter what I say, you disagree with it, and you never phone in to challenge. You never come on to say, I don't believe you disagree with. I think it's impossible to watch my channel every single day for 4 or 5 years because you and Mr. Hussein and Maradon, you guys can't watch it every day and not enjoy it. It's impossible. Unless you're a troll and you're only here to troll. Because if you don't like it, why would you watch it? You never agree with a single thing I say, but yet you watch it every day. That means you actually enjoy it, but you're trolling for fun. Because there's no one in their right mind that would hate something that much and watch it. No one does. But yes, man with 3 kids is an incel. Cheers. Crazy. Look, I want to thank everybody that has tuned into the show today, even the trolls. We love it loads. We're back tomorrow with more content for you, match reactions, transfer news, straight facts in the evening. So yeah, our straight fact show will be tomorrow evening as well. This video is going to take you through to MHF. So go over there, go make sure you're subscribing, get that done. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon. Incels out.